Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your live match reaction for Manchester United 1, Fulham 1 at Craven Cottage. We're craving more points and the shine is gone from last week completely. Not acceptable, not very happy, lots to discuss. Do your player ratings, links in the video description. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average, star for your man of the match. But look, we need to have a real conversation here. There is some really baffling decisions being made. Ultimately, I want Amrim to do well. We're going to have to be patient. I do not want an Amrim out movement. I do not want to carry on going around this cycle, but that doesn't mean we have to ignore the glaring issues that fans have been talking about all summer. We don't have a midfield. We don't have a goalkeeper. We've got an abundance of number 10s. I mean, have we not just burnt a number 10? Two number 10s. Bruno at number 10 is very good, and Ahmad at number 10 is very good. We're now misusing Ahmad as a right wing back. Bruno is not a midfielder. We just seem to be swamped with number 10s and obsessed with number 10s at the detriment of our attack, our midfield, and the goalkeeper. It's strange. And the shine from last week has completely dissipated based on what we all feared. We played well against Arsenal for 90 minutes and the keeper messed it up. We go to Fulham, we play well for about 20 minutes and then bang average for 70 and totally don't deserve to win the game. We might have won the game if we took a couple of the chances, but it wasn't a deserved, it wasn't a good performance. And the scary thing is, the shine of last week, we know this team can play shit again. Like last week, we were like, Arsenal got a goal from a corner. We played well. They didn't. This week, we've shown that yet again, we can play well against the top sides and then we can switch it off against the so-called lesser sides. And it's concerning because already you can see the new signings can have bad games. It's not their fault. Shesko, not a sniff. May as well have sat on the bench. Mbermo, pretty average again. Cunha in and out of the game. So we can ruin new signings and we can see that again. It doesn't matter how good they are. We can ruin players in this system, in this team, whatever you want to call it. So look, massively disappointed. I don't think a draw is like the end of the world, but I think it shows the volume of work that we've got to do. And look, we finished 15th last year. We talk about 5th. Some people talk about top 4. That's a reality bite. Of course it is. But we come back to the same things. I want to talk about Bruno. I think Bruno has cost us, but I blame Amrim. The scary thing for me is that how history repeats itself. Because last season, was it second game last season or was it the first game last season? I think it was second game last season. I lost my shit after Brighton. And people were like, what are you doing? You back Ten Hag. And I said, I do back Ten Hag. And that's why I'm pissed off with him, because he's made so many mistakes that it's going to cost him his job. And here we are, second game again. And I think Amrim's made a lot of mistakes. And I like Amrim. I want him to do well, but you can't just bury your head in the sand. He's making big mistakes and he needs to listen. Bruno is not a midfielder. Let's just say it straight away. And I think we need to have a grown-up conversation here, because I can't be bothered with Bruno's shit, Bruno's great, Player FC, Ricky FC, whatever. I can't be bothered with, that's not the conversation I'm having. And I don't think a lot of you are having this conversation. I think Bruno is our best player and he's being played out of position. There's a big difference between saying Bruno cost us the game today and saying Bruno's shit, sell him. He's a number 10 and he's playing at number 8. And I don't think he's a midfielder. And Amrim has to either stop doing it or prove us wrong. But in the 2 games we've played, he cost us the corner that Arsenal scored from, and he cost us the goal by not tracking Smith Rowe today. So in 2 games as a number 8, he's cost us 2 goals that have ultimately cost us points. In the first 2 games. This guy is not a midfielder. I don't expect him to be a midfielder. I can criticise him for being a bad midfielder, but he is not a midfielder. He is a number 10, and he's one of the best number 10s we've had at the club. So why is he playing as a number 8? Why is Ruben Amorim, who's only been in the Premier League for half a year, insisting on sticking a guy in the midfield who's not a midfielder? I remember Wayne Rooney being put in the midfield and everybody said he's not a midfielder. Why are we doing it? This is not about Bruno being shit. This is a grown-up conversation about a player being put out of position that is hurting the team. He's everywhere as well. There was a point in the second half, at the start of the second half, where he's at right back. That's bad discipline. You cannot play in the midfield with bad discipline, because bad discipline means that you leave your space, which causes problems, but then you occupy other space, which causes them problems. So when he's on the right wing, he's in Ahmad's space or he's in Mbeumo's space and he's leaving his space. It has cost us a win today. Bruno Fernandes as a midfielder has cost us a win today. I would stick him as a number 10. And what I don't understand as well is when the midfield is so shit, why has Mainu not had 1 minute? Why is Mainu signing a new contract? If you're Mainu and you're sat there, you're going, I couldn't get into a Man United side last year that's the worst Man United side in Premier League history. And now I can't get in a Man United side. I haven't even had a minute in a team that's got a shit midfield. I mean, why not, when it goes to 1-1, why don't you bring Mainu on, put him next to Ugarte and put Bruno as a 10? If you don't want to take Bruno off because he's so brilliant, put him as a 10 and bring Mainu on. But no, this is weird. This is weird. I've seen managers do this before and it's weird. It goes beyond the plan of making Man United great again. It goes beyond logic and it starts to become a point of contention and stubbornness. And this Bruno thing in the midfield could long-term cause him big problems. Amorim I'm talking about, because I don't see this getting any better. It's a skill. It's a specialist position. When you watch Smith Rowe, and I didn't know, you can watch my reaction on the watch-along. I don't know who's done it. I just said, when Smith Rowe's running away, who in the midfield has let him go? And it could have been Ugarte. And if it had been Ugarte, I'd say, what's going on with Ugarte? His confidence on the floor. When you see the replay, you see it's Bruno and you go, well, I'm not fucking surprised. I'm not surprised. This is, if you've ever played in midfield, it's one of the key skill sets you need. When you're on the edge of the box and one of their midfielders run, you've got to track them. Because as a centre-back, you can't track somebody who's already running when you're standing still. It has to be a midfielder, and he doesn't do it. And it costs us, well, it costs us a win. So, but it's completely on Amorim. Completely on Amorim. He's got that wrong. And also, just on that, very, very quickly, I think it's important to say that when we score the goal from Yoro, and let's not mess about, I don't think it's a foul. It's fortuitous because it's not going in and it hits Muniz. But when we get that goal from Yoro, there are, I don't know the exact amounts of minutes, but there is about 10 minutes where, maybe 15, where he keeps with Mount and Bruno in the midfield. After we get the goal, he sticks with Mount and Bruno in the midfield. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never heard anything more ridiculous than Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes as a midfield two in an away game in the Premier League. I've never heard anything as stupid as that. We're 1-0 up and we stick with Bruno and Mount as a midfield two. As soon as that goal goes in, Ugarte needs to be on. Because what happens is, we go 1-0 up, and then for the next 10 minutes, our midfield is AWOL. It's nowhere. And Fulham, it's so bad, Brighton are beating us. And Fulham are coming right through us. And the momentum goes. We lose the momentum. And we never get the momentum back. Like, Šeško doesn't get any of the ball for the rest of the game. Because we lose them from 1-0 up, we lose momentum because we lose the midfield battle because we've got Mount and Bruno on. And even when Ugarte comes on, it's basically just a bloody emergency services job. He's blocking here, there and everywhere. There's no composure in our midfield ever again after 1-0. So look, that midfield's a massive problem. And this is why, talking about the transfer window very, very briefly, obviously we need a goalkeeper. We know that. But if we don't do something in the midfield, you're going to see a lot of games like that this season. A lot of games like that. It doesn't matter how good Cunha is. It doesn't matter how good Šeško is. It doesn't matter how good Mbeumo is. It doesn't matter how good Yoro is. It doesn't matter how good De Ligt is. If you've got a mint with a hole, you've got a hole in the middle. Polo FC. We have to get a midfielder in. It is a mess in there. And I don't think Casemiro is very good today either. Too slow. So we've got a massive problem in the midfield and he has got to solve it. Also, I think you've got to say, with complete and utter honesty and clarity, because I want to have a grown-up conversation about this. I mean, the fan forum's going to be very interesting after this, and I will be watching it with my glass of red wine, because I want to listen to what they've got to say, and they may have different takes. But I think away from the mistakes that Amrim's made today, and I will just say as well, not only Bruno in the midfield, not only playing Mount and Bruno for 10 minutes, but also not starting a striker. I'm not going to get fooled by a couple of little flicks from Mount into Cunha in the first 5 minutes. For 85 minutes, it didn't work. We weren't a threat. He's got to start a striker. And you know what my biggest issue is, and it's going to be controversial? We have got a striker who had a pre-season, who we can still sell to Napoli, but he could have started a couple of games for us. Xerxes hasn't come off the bench yet, so he's clearly not fit. You could have used Rasmus today for an hour and then brought Šeško on. It didn't work. It doesn't work playing a false nine. We haven't scored a goal with a false nine. I think Šeško was on the pitch when Yoro scored. You need a striker on the pitch. We're too easy to play against without a striker. So that, to me, was a mistake as well. If Gyökeres, without a pre-season, can play 90 minutes for Arsenal in Game 2, why can't Šeško, who had more of a pre-season, play for 90 minutes for Manchester United? And I think that was a mistake as well. But that leads me into my third point. The biggest problem we have is that we're treating the first 3 games of the season like pre-season again. United, and you know I'm right. You know I'm right. I've heard some of you say it on the watch-along. United seem to think the first 3 games to the international break is pre-season. We do it every year. We don't think the season starts till the middle of September. We treat August like pre-season. We don't start a striker. We don't get a goalkeeper. We don't get a midfielder. We're trying stuff out. Oh, let's try Delo at right wing back. Oh, to me, let's try Ahmad. Oh, to you, let's bring Delo on. Let's try Mount and Bruno as a midfield too and leave Mainu on the bench and not use him. Oh, let's try a false 9. Let's put Binder in goal. Let's not get a goalkeeper. We're not ready for this season. I said this on one of the summer shows. I said, no matter what happens now, we're not going to be ready for the start of the season because we haven't got the players that we need. And it's been proven. We're not ready for the start of the season. Again, we weren't ready 2 years ago when we had to go and get Anthony and Casemiro because we lost our first 2 games of the season. We weren't ready last season because De Ligt and Mazraoui didn't come in till a couple of days before the first game of the season and Agate came in before the international break. We weren't ready the year before when we didn't bring Ronaldo in until just before September. We're not ready. We're not ready for this season. We've got a second choice goalkeeper in goal because we can't get rid of Onana. We've got bloody Bruno and Mount playing in the midfield. We're not starting our £70 million striker. No matter how you dress it up, we're not ready for this season. We're just not ready for it. And we're losing points because of it. We lost to Arsenal. We've lost 2 points today. We've dropped 5 points in our first 2 games because we're not ready. And how many times are we going to keep saying to the owners of this football club, it's important to get business done early because it directly impacts the points you get at the start. We've dropped 5 points. We should have 4. We've got 1. Should have drawn last week and won today. And people talk about 5th place or Europe. We're dropping too many points already. And the scary thing is, I remember us talking about how, worst case scenario, we might have 4 points from our first 15. Draw against Fulham, beat Burnley, lose to Arsenal, Man City and Chelsea. Well, if we don't get something out of Man City and Chelsea, we're going to have 4 points from 15 and we're going to be down near the relegation zone after 5 games. So the pressure's on, the shine is gone, and this is where we are now. It's a concern. It's a concern. We're going to do the player ratings, but I want to just catch some of your comments because there's a lot coming in. Bruno is not focused, especially in this game. We took 2 energetic players off. Mount was our best player, and after that, gone, says David. There is nothing that makes me think Amorim will succeed. No improvement whatsoever, and performance and results keep going downhill. Sack is inevitable, says Jose. In order for this reset to actually work, Bruno, Delo and Luke Shaw need to go, says Vacation. Look, Amorim's not in any danger. We've got to resist that. I said at the start of the season that for me, our season doesn't really start till game 10. From game 10 to game 30, we've only had 2. So we've got to resist this urge to start following the Amorim out movement, which the media and some of our fan base will start. We've got to resist that. What we can do is call out the mistakes. His obsession with Bruno Fernandes in the midfield is a danger to his future. And he needs to realise it, because you can't teach an old dog new tricks. How can one of the Premier League's best number 10s suddenly become Declan Rice? You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous what we're asking him to do. Ridiculous. 2 games in and I still don't see any service to Šeško. Same old United, says NL. The amount of work this shape requires to defend and attack is too inefficient. Too many players have to be informed for it to work, says Aditya. I hate the zero adaptability, change to 4-3-3 sometimes, says Matthew. He said he wanted an athletic midfielder. He knows we have an issue, so why did they go for Baleba, who's not available and not a viable target? This is on the club as well, says Shan. And I think that's a great point as well. You can have a pop at Amorim. He is wrong today in relation to his obsession around the midfield. But let's not forget, he has said publicly he wants a midfielder. The club have to deliver a midfielder. You can't watch games and say, don't get a midfielder. Bruno's mind looks off. He looks distracted. The team fared worse when Agate entered the fray. Our midfield needs to be sorted, says Yuv. No, 1-1 needing a win. Double centre-back change, says Jordan. You buy striker, might as well provide him service, says Joshua. Why are people already saying Amorim out? He doesn't have all the players. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, Frederick, but I told you that will start. Bruno, I think today Amorim deserves heavy criticism. The decisions were silly, and I can't be arsed seeing another manager dying on a hill for his favourites, says Come. Jamie says, load of shite. Bruno wasted in the midfield. Šeško receives it fuck all, and we moaned about Rasmus. They can't do anything if they ain't being passed to. Jamie, I like Šeško. I feel we haven't signed him yet. We've done absolutely nothing for him in the minutes he's been on the pitch so far. Welcome to the graveyard shift. Amiro, Bruno, Delo and goalkeeper out, says Akil. Buying a midfielder won't change the fact that Bruno will still be one of the 2, says Azur. A full week to prepare and solve things, and yet we can't play football, says Hassan. Time to take the captaincy off Bruno, give it to Delit, says OTG. Playing a cam in a 2-man midfield pivot is crazy. Man thinks he's still in Portugal. We are doomed. Grimsby's going to take us to penalties, says NSP. Last 10 Premier League games, 1 win. Bruno, 90 minutes today is questionable, says Dino. You're absolutely right. He's not an 8, and Bruno himself knows we basically have 4 number 10s, says Alo. Can we have an 8 PM show, says Michael? Well, it pretty much will be an 8 o'clock show because the fan forum's straight after this. When Ollie started McFred in that season opener against Leeds after the Europa League final, I was Ollie out. Will Bruno be the catalyst for Amorim out, says Michael. I fear that Bruno as captain feels responsible to pick up the team when they aren't playing well, and it's causing him to lose discipline, says Chris. 3-4-2-1 system won't work because of Bruno. Bad course, says JB. Get on the phone to Saudi and Brighton tonight, says Ginger Red 68. Andrews says Bruno's body language is pathetic. Amorim is not looking when Bruno is taking a penalty. When Fulham takes corners, what kind of confidence playing members of the team would have? Bruno never gets subbed as well, says Andrews. Why does Bruno always nag and make a victim and face on the pitch? Happens nearly every game. This is terrible to come from team captain and ruins team morale, says Carolina. Delo is terrible, says MVB Pete. Sell Bruno and rebuild the midfield, says Evan. You know what? I've just got to jump in here. You know, this whole sell Bruno and rebuild the midfield, I feel like it's an echo. Did we not discuss this at the start of June and the club decided not to do it? I mean, we are where we are. We can't change that. We had an opportunity to do it. Some of us said do it. We didn't do it. And now people are saying do it. Like, it's gone. It's gone. That's why we said if the plan is to play Bruno as an 8, take the 100 million, rebuild the team. And here we are. After 2 games going, This is why we said it. It's so annoying. It's almost like everybody bloody knew. We have too many 10s in a system that doesn't play with a 10. We're back to playing a 5-2-3-1, says Alex. Bruno out of position doesn't explain his bad set pieces, says Anthony. Well, he always wants to hit a lot.
خو مالي میاشت یوه نیمه ټیم به دلته والم هغه وایي چې زه درشم میاشت یوه نیمه پس زه راځم چې ماله خپل روپۍ راکړي او یو خبره به دی یا ستاسو قسمت کې شته یا نه دې سړي له خپله مزدوري به بیا ورکوه
هغه اسانه زموږ هغه اسانه
دې نه ګوري که نه لکه
بس دا خو دغه دی که نه
دا مزدور کار یې ده له به یې پاسات ورکوه
پاسات نه سر خامخا چې میخه لنګه شي ورکړې څه کې څنګه پاسات
چې پای ته خرڅ
نه نه مړه مې چې دلته کې یو دغه دی دا تاسو نه لاندې سي کې شکیل او موسی پېژنې
شکیل
او موسی اجي پېژنې د لنګو بلار په کار هم کوي د ډاګو دی او وایي چې ته اکبر ماما وایي
هغه ډک شانه له خو نه دی مندري
پېښې
تاجولي سره یو ورځ دلته راغلی
کېدای شي چې راغلی تور غونډ هلک دی
خړې خړې سترګې
دغه دی
مندرې اجامت کوي دا ځای نه لږ داسې دغه شان
او مکه دی او مکه
بس همدغه شی دی دا
ما سره نه پېژني ما به ورته ویلي چې د هغه پاران دي د خانزمان کاکا مې یو زوی دی هغه سره دي نو تاسو راته خپله ووایئ خیر یې میخې ته مو ګوره کومه نمونه میخه ښه سیکایره ښه درنه اوې خلک پرې شړشمو تیل او بازاري غوړي خوري ده د میخې تک ته ستا خیر کورنو غوړو باندې مړه کړې ده داسې غوړي پې خوري وایي ما پې د 10 کیلو نه زیات وخوړل ما بله ورځه پورې نه پېژنده چې دا بلار به راکه وچره څه لرته دروغ ما پټو جولې په ما رامنډم که د میخې کرامت ماما سره فیصله وکړه خیر
روپۍ ډېرې دي که نه
روپۍ داسې دومره خو ډېر
والله روپۍ شپږ لکه روپۍ خو هم میخې
دا ښه میخه نه ده
نه نه ښه ده ولې ښه نه ده خو پنجاب او دې کې فرق شته که نه اجیه شي پنجاب که نه داسې کار دی که نه چې دا پی خو ما تا ته ټوله کیسه وکړله چې په ګوجر ټولې ښې میخې راتلی که نه دی به نه خوارېدو پوه شوې خو دې کې خم راځي دې کې خرابېږي روغ او رنځور ټول راځي که نه
بلکل
یو میخ هماغه شي وه په کلي کې چې د جوټې ثاني نه وه لنګه وه خو چې اوس یو میخه تا دغه حساب روغ کړی او لنګې او ما تا نه واغشم نو دې کې خو څه شر نشته دی دا میخې بس بېګا لنګه شوې دې خو څه شر شته څه مونږ هم چې که نه میخه ولاړه ده پوه شوې هغې هغه ملګري والله لږ خفه وو والله دا میخه پې هم پې ډېر وسو مړه خو میخه د 6 کیلو نه مخکې نه شوله میخه تېره شوې زه مړه بس اوس ورکې که بس په بلا دې ولېږي خو داسې میخه بیا لږ پې اوږده کوي تم پې پوه شوې که نه میخه بلار به شوه او چې یو څه نمونه ځواني ده پې په هغه میخه او داسې غولاندې مخکې روز توغ کې وه او کندرو ته یې یوړه که نه او پنجابي دی لاس کې ورکړه که نه نو د وطن میخ هم د وطن یو لک دا 4 لکه او 2000 یې کولي بیا دلته کې ناصرپور منډی والا دی په 4.5 لکه روپۍ وه ای کې دغه تو دو سړه راغله پوه شوې نو پی کول او نه کول دا د قسمت خبره خو د وطن باندې کانه تم خپې مونږ هم پې پوه شوې
فرق خو پکې شته
څنګه بوډا
به راته د دې میخې 9.5 لکه وایي چې په پنجاب کې 9.5 نه درته کمه بیه نه کوي ورته
نه خندانه ورانه ورسې
مړه نو په 3.5 لکه خو زاړي چې ښه زاړې ښه میخه درشني چې الین که
بس کانه پیسې څه نه چېږي دا میخه مې دله والله ټیکه هغه شته
کمه مې
دا چې زه تا ته ویم
پیسونه کار روان
کورو سره دې شوړه وې ما ته وګوره چا دې مور خبرې ته غوږ کېده که نه مړه کاڼه زه ته شل ښیمه که وروسته د پیسې وي پیسې یې 2 ورځې پس راولېږي 3 ورځې پس عبدالله داسې ده که نه هغه هم د پنجابي نه میخه هغه شه پیسې به لیږي ورپسې میخه کور ولشه چې دا میش 40 ورځې ولشه میخه چې بدال به شي چارې په بچیله کې ورکړې دم میخه تېره ده چې کوم زموږ ملګري ورته سنډا پرېښې میخه به داسې په 4 لکه روپۍ خلکو نه بچیله کېږي میخه به همداسې ځواني او داسې ښکاره نه څنګه عبدالله چا سره ده او سړی خرڅوي ضرورتمند دی ماته بېګم وي یاره زموږ په مخ کې وډشه ده 4.5 کیلو ټیم یې وکړ خو په میخه څه نمونه ځواني ده او که بس هغه خو اخري 3.5 غواړي شل ورته عبدالله مې ویلي که نه 10 یې ورته 10 کې 3.5 غواړي ویله شه او چې میخه به چیرېږي شي چالی ورکړه چې په خوند دې پېښ او میخه هم نسلي میخه ده نسلي داسې ده چې پنجابي دې نه غوږونه داسې